So today's topic is about dopamine detox. So what is dopamine and why do we need to get into this subject deeper? It's a very important one. Well, dopamine is a hormone. Is that hormone that's going to trigger you to do things that you really like. It's not a bad thing. It's going to be there forever. It was there forever. But the problem is that dopamine has two different sources, in my opinion, like internal source of dopamine and the external source of dopamine. So the external source of dopamine nowadays are things like social media, like watching Netflix, watching different series, listening to the music, and all these different acts that in general you don't have to do a lot to become satisfied with it. So you're so sad and you're just like, let me just smoke a couple of cigarettes, let me just drink alcohol, and you feel happy after all, and maybe not happy, but you just feel satisfied. When you're doing things and you get that instant gratification in no time, that's dopamine, and it's going to just enable you to forget the hardship. So the problem is that when you externally gives your dopamine and you feel satisfied with life, you become a bit lazy. You just lose your focus. Why? Because your body will going to understand that for getting that dopamine, you don't need to do a lot. For instance, in 100 years ago, 200 years ago, people had to do a lot. People had to go deeper and do hard things to get that dopamine internally. They were satisfied with the job that they were about to do in a week, in a month, in a year. And they were just like, yes, I did it. For instance, imagine a writer. They were about to write a book, and writing itself is not a very easy thing, but they had some bigger purposes, writing something that were totally valuable in their opinion. And after they were about to finish their book, they had that feel of gratification that I did something important in life, and it took me a lot of time, a lot of effort. I did a lot, and now I'm happy with it. But nowadays, for getting that much happy, you only need to just pick up your phone and go to your Instagram and watch different stories and just infinite swipes and scroll downs to just feeling totally okay with yourself. Imagine you just going to your Facebook, watching different profile picture of your friends, or going to Spotify and listen to all these different kind of songs, watching a TV series on Netflix. All these things are gonna give you that dopamine for doing literally nothing. So your body gonna just get used to in this, idea that I don't need to do a lot for having that dopamine. So why should I really try harder? I don't need that. So in general, people become addicted to this form of behavior, and for instance, they become alcoholic. While you're drinking alcohol, your mind gonna gives you that dopamine. While you're smoking cigarettes, your mind gonna give you that dopamine. Drinking a lot of coffees, drinking a lot of teas, eating sweet things like chocolate and stuff like that. So external source of dopamine gonna make you so lazy, and it's gonna make you so out of focus, because your mind gonna understand you don't need to focus, you don't need to do deep work. Just sit down and watch this series. You're gonna be totally fine. And because of that purpose, we're not gonna do deep work only because our mind is not gonna let us do that. For instance, in my case, I never could read a book. Why? Not because I didn't like it, not because I didn't know that it is valuable, but because I couldn't concentrate. It was just like I was trying to read 10 pages of a book, and when I was to start reading, the music were about to just play in my mind, and I was repeating the melody. I was trying to just concentrate, but I was thinking about the movie that I watched the other day, and it was just like really hard to concentrate. So I told myself, dude, it's been like, I don't know, a year that I don't remember I've done any deep work. But I can say, to be honest, I was on Instagram the past 1 year. So I wasn't doing anything important, but I was on social media. I wasn't doing anything, but I was totally listening to music every day. And it was just like, I have to get rid of this. So what did I do? I tried to think, what can I do to eliminate the external source of dopamine? So I start not listening to music. In general, I stopped listening to music. I stopped watching movies. I stopped drinking a lot of coffee. I stopped doing whatever that were about to be done in 5 seconds and about to give me that instant gratification. I told myself, you're not allowed to do those things. And it's been a week that I'm doing this, And believe it or not, I get back to my peak of performance one more time, and I can concentrate now. And it was fantastic to see myself sitting down and reading a book for two, consecutive hours without any problem, without thinking about the music, without thinking about the movie that I didn't watch. What can I think about if there is nothing up there? If I'm not giving any feed to my mind, what can my mind actually do? Nothing. So that was the thing that made me concerned, that if I continue giving my dopamine from external sources, it's going to just paralyze me. And it literally did in the last year that it just passed. And I think mostly I wasted my time. But now I'm totally happy after this dopamine detoxification. So dopamine will going to be there, but the form of dopamine is going to be different. So what do I do nowadays? I read a book. Reading the book by itself is not that fun to me. But knowing that I learned something new today is going to give me that feeling. It's going to give me that dopamine. Coding is not that easy. But when you're just sitting down and just doing the coding and you try to learn different things in the world of programming for 6 hours, you just feel happy after that 6 hours. See, you're still going to get that dopamine, but it's not going to be there easy, just like watching your friends' stories on Instagram. No, it's not like that. You have to work 6 hours to get to that point. You have to read 2 hours of books to get to that point. While you're hitting the gym, you have to do 2 hours of hard exercise to get to that point. So by limiting and actually getting rid of external source of dopamine, you get your hands on internal sources. Whatever you do, anything good, you feel internally happy, and that's internal form of dopamine that you're going to have. And by eliminating the externals, the best thing that you can happen to you is to regain your power of focus, and that's very important. Like, I was watching a YouTube video about dopamine detox, and believe it or not, the video was fantastic. It was in a way that I could just see the video, and I was so satisfied with the pictures that was there. And I was thinking, dude, now that I'm watching a video about dopamine detox, it's giving me dopamine. And it was just like, what the hell is going on here? I don't really understand. I'm watching something very pleasant, and it just gives that pleasure to my eyes because it's just beautiful. The storyline, the way that that guy just edited the video, everything is giving me that dopamine, and I'm watching a video about dopamine detox. And I thought maybe I can do the same, but I wasn't. But I am not that cruel to do this to you. If you're just watching this video, you're gonna think about, all right, if I really have the problem, I should change the way that I live. And I'm not giving that dopamine to you by watching my video. You're just watching this and you're just giving raw information from me, and you have to process it for yourself. I'm not just gonna give it to you just like in a way that you feel totally happy by watching me. But the concept is very important. It is one of the most important concepts that I found lately in my life. And now, after the dopamine detox for a week that I'm trying to eliminate every source of external dopamine, I'm feeling much more happier than ever. Like, I'm a musician. I worked on playing instruments and making songs and listening to them, analyzing them for over 10 years. But I stopped listening to music. I don't listen to music anymore. It's been a week, and it's just like crazy. Now my mind is able to be more creative, and that's fantastic. I never thought that maybe by stop listening to music, I have more time to think, to create, to write songs. Still, I'm doing the music, but it's in my head, and I'm not repeating the songs that I listened to them for over 1,000 times. So it's a very important one. Search it for yourself. Find good content for yourself. Read them. Understand them, and if you really need to regain your concentration, to regain your deep work and all of those things, you can stop those external sources and trying to do everything internally. And I hope you're gonna just be able to actually do it, because it's a very important thing. Deep work to some of us is very important. I talked to one of my friends about this dopamine detox, and I told him, dude, smoking cigarettes is going to give you that instant gratification. You don't like to smoke, but you smoke because of dopamine. And he said, yeah, you're right. And he actually light up his cigarettes, and it was just like, all right, maybe it's not for you. Maybe you don't want to stop smoking, but that's all I'm telling you. If you have any problem with concentration, you can do it. But if you don't have any problem, so continue your daily life. And if there's some problem and it's not your problem, it means that it's not a problem to you. But if you feel it is a problem to you, you have to do it. It's a very important thing.